What if the way you've been telling your life story reveals the secret to what is holding you back? Stories play an integral part in how we see not only ourselves, but the whole world. Stories are more than just an important part of communication. They also reveal hidden aspects of our inner talk, which can either support us or end up holding us back from the very things we want most in life, without us even realizing it. Join author, mindset coach, and award-winning singer-songwriter Carrie Rowan on her show, Look for the Good, every Monday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. when she shares nuggets of wisdom from her internationally best-selling book, Tell a New Story, 5 Simple Steps to Release Your Negative Stories and Bring Joy to Your Life. Carrie's powerful stories and compelling guests will empower you to change how you look at your own life while giving you some powerful tools and tips you can use every day to help you feel better and move yourself closer to the life you've been longing to live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Look for the Good. I'm your host, Carrie Rowan, mindset strategist and coach, and I love sharing nuggets of wisdom about the stories we tell each other, and more importantly, those stories we tell ourselves. So you can join me and my special guests as we share our personal stories of strength and triumph every week on DreamVision7 Radio Network. You can listen online on your mobile device, in your car, or ask Alexa to play DreamVision7 Radio. And you can tune in every Monday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time to get real stories and tips on how to turn your story and your life around. And evolve with us as we unite humankind with universal love. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I can't wait to introduce my special guest Tamara, waiting in the wings. Hello, Tamara.
Hi.
And this is going to be just an unbelievable episode. And before I get rolling, I want to have a word from our sponsor here. And this is kind of a personal one for me. Are you a nonfiction author who dreams of self-publishing your book but feel overwhelmed and not sure of the best path to follow? Imagine having the support you need to independently self-publish and orchestrate a bestseller book launch with expert guidance every step of the way. Well, now you can. The bestseller book launch done for you package is for the busy author who doesn't have time to learn how to publish and plan all the details of a book launch on Amazon, but wants results. And if you're looking for hands-on, one-on-one support every step of the way and expert guidance with someone who has a proven track record, then this package is for you, my friend. And I can personally attest to Tamara's work because she's helped me launch my book, Tell a New Story, and it was an international bestseller in no time. It was so amazing and so fun, and we're going to talk about that process a little bit today. And so to find out more information and to get your free How to Introduce Your Book video template, visit TamaraMonosoff.com. And I'm going to spell that for you. Tamara, TamaraMonosoff.com today. Hello, Tamara. I love that. I love the work you do. You know that I love it personally. I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Carrie, thank you so much for having me. I adore you, and I absolutely loved working with you on your Tell a New Story book. It was just such a joy.
Aw, thank you. Right back at you, my friend. I'm going to share your bio because it's super impressive. I know we all get a little squeamish when somebody reads our bio.
I know. I think I even told you, just chop out whatever you want.
Just pretend it's about somebody else. We'll talk about that imposter thing later. So Tamara's a successful publisher and book launch strategist. And as you guys know now, she helped me launch my book, and I could not have done it without her. She herself has written seven #1 Amazon best-selling business books. And her books are both traditionally published by McGraw-Hill and independently published on Amazon. She's the creator of the Author to Income Formula and helps nonfiction authors reach #1 best-selling status on Amazon, get featured in the media spotlight, and generate income from their books and businesses. Really powerful stuff. Tamara's been featured on the Today Show, Good Morning America, CNN, U.S. News and World Report, Wall Street Journal, Oprah, People, and Time Magazine. Oh, just to name a few. And most recently, Tamara's become a master level certified sound healer with gongs, bowls, chimes, and tuning forks. And let me tell you, we're talking about that today too, because that is so cool. Before becoming an author, entrepreneur, and sound healer, she served as a presidential appointee to the Clinton administration in the White House and the U.S. Department of Education. Wowza. She's a Northern California girl, and she's got 2 young adult daughters she adores. Tamara, I just love that you're on the show. Thank you and welcome again for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Carrie.
My pleasure. Let's jump into the whole book chat because books are so healing, books are so moving. Books can change not only the author's life, but the reader's life. And I feel like that's something that most people don't tune into. But I know firsthand because it changed my life. You know, I've always had this idea in my head. I always knew I was, as an English and psychology major in college, I always knew I would write a book. But, you know, starting on business, I wasn't sure when that was all going to fit into my life. So, talk a little bit about how books change the author's life and not just the reader's life.
It's really a transformation that happens. And I speak also from personal experience, having written books and then worked with clients for now 18 years. I can't believe I'm
Whoa,
saying that.
really?
I know. Yes, yes.
Wow, you must have started when you were 12.
Exactly. So what happens is you have this idea and you have knowledge, expertise, or something's happened in your life where you really feel called to share with others, especially with nonfiction, to share with others in order to uplift, provide knowledge, expertise, just like your story, with telling a story and really creating those shifts out of the negative loops that we have in our minds and in our lives. And so that transformation, you may have in your mind what your book is about, but as you go through the journey yourself, it's going to change. And I used to write my chapters out of order. I used
Really?
to, I would never write the introduction and I would never write the conclusion. I would write down the different topics I wanted to discuss, and then I would write the chapter that spoke to me and that I was feeling called to write and feeling energy to write. And I would start there knowing that I could reorder things. And then at the end is when it was a perfect time to do the introduction and the conclusion, because now it had evolved in transformed in a way that I never even imagined it would have anyway. And then that makes much more sense. So you don't have to end up rewriting your introduction and conclusion because it's going to change no matter what. And for me, it's just a passion project. And so that's why I love my work, like helping you bring your book to life. It is such a joy knowing that I can help create a ripple effect, meaning I help you bring your book to the world, and then that book touches other lives and other lives and other lives. And so that's how I actually visually see like a drop of water in the pond, where you can see that going out into the world. And so, and I also love that every author has a different topic and area of expertise. So I love it, going from mindfulness to cyberspace security. I mean, I've done it all in between everywhere.
Wow.
So I know offline dating. I mean, we've got so many different topics, and it's so much fun because it's just like it gives me energy because it's something new to learn about.
I was just going to say, you learned so much in the process too, right, along with the author. But I love what you said about starting. You know, actually, as you were talking about that, I thought to myself, I did that same thing. I wrote my chapters out of order because I did it. I first was going to go through a publisher that way, and then ended up, you know, as you know, in a roundabout way, finding you, my savior, my book savior. And because I was moved to write that chapter, and you had to do, when you do like a book proposal, you have to pick out 2 chapters. So I did that same thing. It's actually still one of my favorite chapters. So it's a brilliant way to do that because I feel like some people are so overwhelmed. Most authors were overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do first. So I love that. I love that it becomes full circle because you start, just like I was telling you about the show, we might start here, but we might end up over here and we don't really know what that is yet. So let's just go with the flow.
And that's the magic in the whole process, right?
Yeah.
And not having to be so linear and stuck, because that's not how life is.
It's so true.
As we know.
Yes, we do. We cannot even predict it. So it's like our life, right? We can't write that we can maybe do the 4, but we can't do the ending yet, right? It's like it's got to all unfold. And it's a process. And that's why I felt like you were so supportive of me, because I had thought about some of that stuff, but still it was a flow of it, right? It's like, how do we tie this whole thing together so it makes sense and it's organized? And you know, like I said, that feeling of overwhelm, I feel like, especially for new authors who've never done it, how do you help them overcome that?
Well, again, I think it's really just not thinking about the finished product, the finished book, but just really, you do have to create an outline, or what I tell people, if that word outline freaks them out, I'll say just write down themes,
I like that,
ideas.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be so. Just do it in the way that works for you, because I truly believe that. I mean, of course, you need structure for your book. You need to take your readers on a journey, and I think having your readers in mind is really important. So, because you are literally taking them by the hand and taking them through the journey. And so it does have to have a beginning, middle, and end, as stories do. And even with nonfiction books, you're taking them on a road trip. So
Yes, you
so
are.
you just have to think about that in terms of, not getting so hung up on what am I going to do? And how's this going to work? And all of those things. And of course, we're going to question those things, and we may have to course correct and move it, and have more flow with the process. But really, I always say it's always about them, your readers, and thinking about what are the gifts that you want to share? What are those gifts? So that when your readers walk away, their lives are touched, they're inspired, they feel like they have the tools and resources they need to move forward in whatever that area is in their life that your book is helping them achieve.
I love that. And that also makes me think about this. So we all know about, imposter syndrome. We mentioned that earlier. And that's what stops, I think, a lot of authors. They just, no, I can't do it. Or someone tells them, what, you're writing a book? And they stop before they even begin the process. And that's why I feel what you just said is such a great little reframe there, because it's really about the reader.
Yes.
Right? People will say, who am I to write this book? No, who are you not to write this book? You have these incredible gifts. Nobody can tell the story just like you can, or share the wisdom just like you can through your story, no matter what your topic is. We're so individualized in so many ways. It's our flavor, our personal flavor, and nobody can quite do it the way that we can. And that is our superpower. So when we turn it and look at, I'm doing this for the readers. What, you're going to deprive people of these special gifts that were, given to you as your gift to share with the world. And that's really the author's responsibility, is to share those beautiful gifts with the world, and thinking that you could help save a life, turn a life around with that material. I love that thought.
Yeah, it's just so true. And I understand, because when I wrote my first book, I never intended to become an author, honestly. Like, I never did.
Really?
I invented a product. It's kind of embarrassing. I can't even believe I'm bringing it up. Anyway.
No, I want you to. Now you've got us hanging on your word. What is the product?
Okay, so when my kids were little, my daughter started pulling the toilet paper. And so I invented a product called the TP Saver, which prevented kids from pulling the toilet paper. And then that landed me on the Today Show. And I had two little kids. My kids are 2 years apart. So I practically had a newborn, and I had a 2-year-old, and I was taking my kids, and I was going with my backpack over to the warehouse to have this guy, putting the invention together for me and how I envisioned it. Anyway, the point is that after going on the Today Show, I had over 500,000 people come to my website, and they weren't as interested. They were like, some people were interested in the product, but more people there were moms who were saying, oh my gosh, I have an idea. I want to bring my idea to market. How do I do it?
Wow.
And I was like, I can't possibly respond to all these people.
Right.
So that's what made me write the Mom Inventor's Handbook, how to turn your great idea into the next big thing, because I was like, oh my, and I genuinely was not coming from a place of, oh, I want to be an author. Not that that's fabulous. If you know that, own it. But for me, I was just really like, wow, how do I have to give these women this information to help them. And how do I do that in a way that I can do it with two little kids? And so putting it together in a book literally was the how-to. And I think what people appreciated the most is that I always share my mistakes. And I think that's really important. If you're doing, I just think I always learn the most from my mistakes, and then I would want to share them so that other people didn't make those mistakes, because they were costly, and they sometimes were financially costly. They were emotionally, costly. And so I always would share those mistakes along the way. And it's amazing the gratitude that my readers had. So my point really is not about that book anymore. That's now many, many years old. But the point is really just not to be afraid. First of all, you have information, you have knowledge, you have expertise, you have maybe a life experience that nobody else has had. So step into it and embrace it, because if it's going to help other people, it's yours. Like, you own it. So, just know that people are hungry for help and support and transformation and inspiration. So it's really, again, it kind of loops us back, Carrie, to it's really about your readers. It's about them. How can you help them?
I love that. And when you have that clear vision in mind, it changes everything. It changes how you write. It changes all those feelings of I'm not good enough. What am I doing? I'm writing a book. To I've got to get this out. I've got to help people. I know I can help people. And when you make that big why really big for yourself, in those moments where you feel a little stuck or you don't know what to do next, or it really helps you through that because you think from the reader's perspective, right? It's like having compassion for the reader. What do they need? What do they want to know about this? And having a picture of who your ideal reader is in mind, and giving that little avatar a name, and really honing in on what their needs are. It's powerful.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a powerful way to write your book from that stand. So tell us a little bit about, so you and I met because I needed some direction with my book. I thought it was you said you went to a publishing house. I was with a small publishing house at first, and then ended up shifting because I felt like I wanted more control over my book, which is, I know, one of the similar reasons why you did the same thing. Tell us a little bit about that shift.
Yes. So I was first published, I think my 3 books and then a second edition with McGraw-Hill. They treated me very well. So I only have good things to say about that. What I also learned is that when you're with a publisher, you don't necessarily have control over your content. And I didn't have necessarily control over my cover design. I couldn't, even in the interior, even if I would give feedback, if there was a board meeting and they decided something, I didn't have a choice. I wasn't part of that board meeting.
Wow.
So it started to become more clear that, wow, I spent all this time writing this information to help people, and yet I don't have total control of my own work. And so that's when that kind of mental shift started to happen for me. But then it really came to fruition in terms of like, okay, this is it, I'm shifting gears, is when I was asked by Entrepreneur Magazine to have to print an excerpt from my book. And my response was, yes, please. And I couldn't, because it had to go through the legal system. And then it was turned down because it was too long of a quote. And I was like, are you kidding me? So that was kind of like the last straw. And I thought, this is it. I want 100% control of my content. I want to be in love with my book cover. I want the interior to feel completely like it resonated with me and it goes in the direction that I want it to go to and how I think it's going to help people the most. And so that's where I started. And then I started to land, myself on TV with the books and all these different things. And then I had started to have authors coming to me saying, this is way back in 2005. Authors were coming back to me and saying things like, oh my gosh, how did you do this? I see your book is a bestseller. How did you do that? And all these things. And I thought, maybe I can help. And so that's what shifted from my book writing. Honestly, I haven't written a book in a long time, although I have one in the works now. But I really wanted to help authors because I knew how hard it was. And when I was figuring all those steps out myself, like, we went through so much, and you're like, I didn't know what I didn't know, and you don't know.
You don't.
Because you think the book is the hard part, but actually it's all the setting up of your platform and your email campaigns and your social media, like it all really matters a lot. And so how are you doing those things? And so that's when I started to really step in and help authors. And then I was just listening to their struggles, and a lot of authors didn't want to go through figuring out how to set up their KDP account or their Author Central account and, how do they manage the Amazon page, like all these things. And so that's when I stepped in and said, okay, listen, let me help you do it. And so that's what led me to create the Author to Income formula.
Thank goodness you created And I'm someone who understands Amazon, right? I had an online Amazon business, but
yes,
it's KDP is completely different than Amazon Seller Central, as we discovered in comparing all that stuff, everything, even the advertising on the back end. But I love that you created a system to help authors, because you just said something that I say all the time. you think that writing the book is the hard part. It's really not. It's all the stuff that comes after that, and all the I can't imagine all the learning that would go if you're trying to navigate that all on your own
Yes.
and trying to get results to be a bestseller. I mean, that is a lot. There's a lot in there. So I love that. That's why I loved working with you. And you gave me like the gentle nudge, more of like a gentle kick in my pants.
As Annette, as our friend said,
Yeah.
She said, "Yeah, you give me the love and the shove."
Yeah, the love and the shove. I was trying to think of what Annette said, the love and the shove. Exactly. And you need that, because if you don't have that plan and you don't have that plan mapped out and strategized before you even decide to do anything else with that book, then you're in trouble. You're not getting that bestseller tag, and that's so important.
And it's also really important that you bring that up, because what a big mistake that I see authors making consistently is that they finish the book and they have not done any work on building the platform, and then they want to hit bestseller, but you need to have done that work,
Yes.
setting up your website, your social media, your email campaigns, and all of that. It has to be done in order to invite people to help you launch your book.
Right.
And that launch, as you know, is like
Mhm.
getting all people, everybody to purchase your book on that single date.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
so,
building, right?
and
Build, like you're
building.
saying, build, it's dripping out that excitement, right? It's like you got to
Yeah,
get the followers, then you got to get them engaged, and you got to share little drips and clips and what are you doing? And people want to know the behind the scenes of
they
a book.
do. They
People,
do.
right? There's like 85% of people want to write a book. So these people are very interested. They might not, less than 5% ever do it, but they want to know. They want to know what's going on. The behind the scenes is so, you love that when you see stuff on Instagram, or, here's how I wrote my book, or here's how I recorded a song. So really involving them for a while, because you got to get them so excited that they are telling all their friends to go buy Tamara's book on a certain day. And that's what kicks all the algorithm numbers up for you.
That's exactly right. And you pointed it out, something very important is that people do want to be invited to be involved. And so sometimes authors have the mindset like, oh my gosh, I don't want to ask anyone. I did the same thing. I didn't even ask my own family to buy the
Really?
book. My first time,
Oh my gosh.
I did not ask anyone to buy the book.
Wow.
Because
Really?
because you're kind of putting yourself out there, honestly. Like
you
I think
are.
a lot of people have, you're getting closer to the launch, and then all of a sudden, I can't tell you how many times authors will, that I'm working with will all of a sudden go, there's like,
can't
wait
do
a
it.
minute, I'm about to go. I know, and I have, it's very common. Most people
Oh,
have
yeah.
that, 2 to 3 weeks outside of the launch date. Everyone starts, it
Mhm.
becomes real.
Yes.
And then you are putting yourself out there, and that's a big leap, and it takes courage
Yes.
to do it. But that courage is so important. And also keep in mind that you doing that is also inspiring people. So not only is the content of your book important in helping people, but people seeing you take that leap
Yeah.
and being courageous and putting yourself out there is also extremely inspiring.
So inspiring. All right, don't go anywhere. I know you guys are hanging out every word. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Look for the Good. This has been the most incredible conversation. I have Tamara Monosoff. We're talking about so many incredible things about books. And I want to tell you this really cool thing because Tamara just became a master sound healer. And she is sitting here with one of her beautiful crystal bowls. You can't hear if you're on the radio, but you can certainly see if you watch this later on YouTube. Talk to me. It's gorgeous. I love the way the light shines off of it. Talk to us about what drove you. You became a master sound healer. Like, I'm so impressed. In a short period of time, you went to Portugal, you got all this training, incredible stuff you did with your life. Tell us a little bit about that journey and why you decided to become a sound healer.
Yes, it's so interesting, isn't it? The way that our lives can take different paths. And also I was thinking about, it's when you also say yes and embrace things that maybe you have known nothing about. And I say this because I was going through a healing journey myself. I actually went to Portugal. I'm from California, but I moved to Portugal to heal. I went through a divorce unexpectedly after 38 years. Which is like mind-blowing when you really think about that much time. So I needed to heal. And one of the things that is so interesting about your book, Tell a New Story, is because I was having a hard time turning off my repetitive negative story to the point where it was waking me up at night. I would literally just go, and it'd be the story. And I felt like I was desperate. Honestly, I didn't know what to do. I walked miles and miles and miles, and that wasn't helping. It helped, but not in changing the story. And so a friend of mine suggested that I go to this sound healer. She is a master sound healer. Her name is Jillian Harrison. She's Scottish, who I absolutely love. And I went to her session. I'd never had sound bath. You're going to laugh, actually, because my friend said, "Do you want to go to a sound bath?" And I said, "Can I keep my clothes on?"
That's hilarious. You really didn't know what it was.
I really didn't know. So the fact that I'm a master now is just, it's actually funny because like I had no idea. This was 3 years ago. And so I went to this sound bath and I had such a profound experience. It was mind blowing, actually. But one of the things that came clear for me, sorry, I'm putting my hands on my bowl because as I'm speaking, it's vibrating.
Ooh,
I don't know if you can hear
That's
it.
So cool.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm going to just keep my hand on it. But what happened for me is I realized my mind went quiet. And I was so deeply relieved. Like I had so much upset from the loss of my family as I knew it. And I just felt so lost. And even though had a very successful career with authors and helping authors, I had this whole other thing happening in my life that was something I couldn't control. I just felt like, it was out of my control. And so sound healing provided this deep comfort, knowing that I could have that hour of quiet in my mind. So afterwards, I went to the Gong master and I talked to her about my experience, and then I kept going to her sessions. And then she pulled me aside one day and she said, "I'd like to train you. I'd like to train you to be a sound healer. I think that you can help people." And I was so honored. But this is the thing that what I was telling you is I was sitting there just like we all do with something new. I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" I mean, it's just like I couldn't even imagine it. And that's what I was saying earlier is like, sometimes you just say yes. And when a Gong master is looking at you, wanting to train you personally, it's just like, yes.
In Portugal.
I know. I just said yes. And it has literally transformed my life.
Wow.
And it's taken 3 years to go through the levels of training, and it has profoundly changed my life. Wow. And I now do offer them in the community that I live in here in California, and it's transforming other people's lives. And now I will be training people, and now I can certify others to become sound healers. And here's the thing. It can help you just personally. You don't have to, be certified and go out and do it if that doesn't call you. But the thing is, I was telling you, Carrie, during the break, is I do it between my Zoom meetings to get myself grounded, to re-energize, to refocus, to open up my creativity, my pathways. Like it only takes a minute. I will literally, I can do it right now. I can just
let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I'll take it. Okay, here. This is oftentimes that I have a many bowls and I have gong and I have a lot of other instruments. But honestly, like I will do this one bowl when I'm just needing to be grounded. And this is the C bowl, by the way.
Mm-hmm. That was beautiful. It's amazing how long it vibrates still afterwards. The vibration.
Still going. It's still going. And what's funny is, sorry if my nose was, I took a deep breath. I realized I went,
You're fine. You made us all take a deep breath. I love that.
I know. I'm so funny. I just took a deep breath because it was just like, it instantly just,
Me too. I did
And
do
this,
that with you.
yeah, and with C, and you know, as a musician,
Yes. Mhm.
with C, this is the grounding bowl.
Yeah.
And so if you only were to get yourself one bowl, this is the bowl I'd have you do.
Get the C first. Okay.
Because it's just you can't, your whole body just quiets.
Immediately,
So,
even through the transmission of the speaker and the mic, and I still felt it. And I hope everybody was doing that with us. I just closed my eyes and I felt it deeply. I felt much more grounded. I love that. I love the power of those. I told you I did some healing trainer classes with those, and we always opened with a meditation with the sound. And when you combine meditation with the sound healing, whoa, like you were saying, it just completes you, takes you to a different place. And I think if people don't know what a sound bath is, we were laughing earlier about keeping your clothes on. That's what it is. You're in a room with, you've got the bolsters and everything you need to relax yourself and lay down on the floor, literally. And they'll take you through a guided meditation. Sometimes it's just the bowls, but you go to a completely different place. Like,
yeah.
really.
And this is what I love too is, so I do those things. We start with breath, guided meditation, bowls, then I move into the gong. And the gong, everyone tells me that when I go to the gong, which is over there, I don't have it behind me to show you, but when I go to the gong, it takes you into such a deep place. And then I bring everybody up and out. And I use the beautiful Koshi chimes, which are made by hand in France. Are you familiar with them?
No.
Oh gosh, well, maybe I can show it to you if you want me to.
Yeah.
But they represent water, air, earth, and fire. They're so beautiful, and they're all tuned. So anyway,
That sounds beautiful.
I know,
Wow, I
it's so
felt
much
that right
fun.
away. Yeah, and I just love that because and the fact that you're sort of combining this with business, right? Like, so you're doing it between your Zoom calls. You're also going to start incorporating it for your authors. Tell us how you're doing that.
Yeah. So a lot of the times it's really interesting because I teach marketing and building your platform, and I like
you
it.
do.
I think it's fun, right?
Mhm.
But most of my authors come to me and they just want to hide underneath the carpet. They're just like under the blanket. I mean, you know, they're just
Sales
like,
marketing.
it's just like, is this? I know, and you actually are really good at it too, and
I
love to
love
do
it.
it too. I know. I'm going to move this bowl because it's literally making sounds as I'm sitting here.
Wow.
Um,
It's talking with us.
I know, it's like join the conversation. So yeah, so it's there's a lot of negative talk, actually, internal negative talk
Yes.
about marketing. I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like to do it. It's too time consuming. What are people going to think? What if they don't like it? I mean, it goes on and on.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is that, again, if you flip it around, it's not about you. It is about the people that you're reaching and serving. So how can you put yourself out there in a way that, again, is not about you?
Yeah, I love it.
It's about them. So when you're putting a post out there, think about, oh, how are they receiving it? What's this message for them? Is this helpful? Is this teaching? You know, like I just put one out yesterday about my live Q&A that I do.
I love that.
Yeah, and I just you know, and that's another thing, by the way, an author can do. That's a total aside. We can get into all the marketing strategies under the sun because I love it so much. But doing these live Q&As, I don't sell anything ever. Those live Q&As are my gift to my authors. And the intention really is to get them unstuck, to get people moving forward. And so I jump on every other week for 30 minutes and I just answer questions so that people can feel like motivated, pushed, getting a little love in the shove that they need to kind of take that next step. But to circle back to what you're talking about with the sound, is that my intention is I'm going to start incorporating some breathing and some sound when I teach things like live streaming, marketing, so you know how to do your marketing book marketing plan.
Because people need to breathe during that.
Yeah, because you know a lot of people get, like when I talked about creating your book marketing plan, they're like, I don't want to do that. You know, I don't want. They know they need it, but they don't want to do it. And yet when you have a plan, it calms your nervous system down too, because
really
you know what you're doing.
So
So anyway, that's my intention, is that going forward, we will just do it doesn't take long. Just you saw that one bowl to get you to take some breath. Yeah. And so that I intend to incorporate those two things so that you can approach marketing and things like that from a calm, inspired place.
Tell us quickly, where can they get on that call with you? Where do you do that? Tell them about that free given stuff for authors.
It's the Author to Income Formula private Facebook group, and you can go ahead and you can just go there to Author to Income Formula and just click to join, and you answer a question if you're working on a book, if you've already published a book, where you're stuck, where you need help, and then I'll just let you right in, and then I live stream there every other week.
And it's so good. I've been in there. It is really good. You can get unbelievable tips. So definitely do that, you guys, if you're thinking about it. Hold tight. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. Are you a nonfiction author who dreams of self-publishing your book, but feel overwhelmed and not sure of the best path to follow? Imagine having the support you need to independently self-publish and orchestrate a best-selling book launch with expert guidance every step of the way. Well, now you can, my friends. The bestseller book launch done for you package is for the busy author who doesn't have time to learn how to publish and plan all the details of a book launch on Amazon, but wants results. If you're looking for hands-on, one-on-one support every step of the way and expert guidance with someone who has a proven track record, then this package is for you. I can personally attest to Tamara's work because, well, I told you before, she helped me launch my book, Tell a New Story. And it was an international bestseller success in a very short period of time. One of the most exciting things ever. So if you want to find out more, go and get your free How to Introduce Your Book video template at her website. It's TamaraMonosoff.com. That's Tamara, Tamara, Monosoff, Monosoff.com today. Tamara, I want to just say, you got me stirring and thinking about all the things I loved about working with you, and there was just so many. But one of the things that makes my book, even to this day, so unique, and people just go, what? When I explain to them, like, they're like, what? How do you do it? Is that my book is interactive. I've got my little spiel. My book's interactive. What do you mean? Well, my book's interactive because inside my book, when you come to a chapter, there's a QR code. And if I told a story about something that happened in my life, and I happen to have written a song about that, you can hear my song right at that pivotal point in the story. Just swipe your phone over the QR code. We all know what they are. And boom, you can hear my song. And it really engages the reader with me on such a different level. Like, I feel like they know me more as an author and I can understand them more, and sharing this. Also, there's videos, right? I have how-to videos in there. And that's my little spiel about why my book is so unique and different. And you made that happen because you were the pioneer in the field. Talk to us about that.
Yes, I loved your book too, especially with adding your original music in it. It was just incredible. But everybody has their gifts to share, right? So as you mentioned, you can add a story, a backstory to make your readers feel even more special, that they get to know like what happened. You know, you have something in the text, but you want to share a little more about what actually happened. Or you can share tips. You can do meditations. You can interview guests. I mean, there's so many amazing things that you can do to make your book interactive, and it also sets your book apart from all of the thousands upon thousands, I mean it's actually millions on Amazon, of books, and it really does make yours different, and it creates an emotional connection with you as the author. They feel like you are their friend. And I can say this is true, Carrie, because when I was listening to you, I would be so touched. I'd listen to the what you had to say, but then I'd listen to your music and it all made sense because you've given some explanation about what that song was about. So it's so powerful that I encourage all my authors to make the extra effort. And then this also comes into fear. I say that because fear, people are like, well, I'm just like, oh, I feel it's scary to go on camera, right? So that's why I teach my authors about going on camera, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But to answer your question, yes, I was a pioneer in this. My books were first published by McGraw-Hill, and I had interviewed 30 women entrepreneurs, and their stories were so incredible about their businesses that they had started, the struggles that they had to overcome, which were massive in some cases, how they overcame them, and then what successes they would have, what they had, and then most importantly, what advice they'd give to other aspiring entrepreneurs. I wanted to bring their amazing stories to life in the book. And so I went to McGraw-Hill and they're like, well, we've never done that with QR codes before. And so they said, if you can figure it out, then we'll do it. Well, since then, I have been helping authors make their books interactive with digital content to make your book stand out from everybody else's out there. And it will, because it personalizes it. It only can be you. It's your stories. It's you as a person showing up inside your book and inviting people and sprinkling those invitations and all of that heartfelt, content. Really, it's just like all of that information that you're sharing with them can really touch and inspire them in ways that words on a page can't necessarily do alone. So yeah. So now I forgot where we were going with this.
Talking about fear.
Fear, of course. Fear. Oh, yes. And that's why I give away, and I would love for everyone to download the gift that I'm giving.
That I just mentioned, right?
Yeah, it's how to introduce your book on video template. And it's because I saw that my authors, you'd be living and breathing your book for a year. And then I'd say, okay, well, now do a video just talking to us about your book. And it was like deer in the headlights. And it was like, what do you mean? I don't know what to say. I have no idea.
Where do I even start? It's 13 chapters.
It's so funny. It happens every single time. So I was like, okay. So I created this really simple fill in the blank template. And what it starts out with is, what is the struggle that your readers are experiencing? Okay, so you speak right to that struggle. Have you ever had X, Y, and Z happen to you in your life? And then you speak with empathy and compassion, saying, I understand. I went through that too. Or I've worked with my clients who also have gone through similar experiences. And then you go into the steps that your book covers. My book is going to help you. I was inspired to write the book because I wanted to share this information with you so that it could help you transform your life in this way. And then a call to action. So I actually walk you through all these different steps on this template. And literally, I've had thousands of authors download this, and they've been able to use it. You put it in your own words, but having this template makes it so easy to do this. But the fear is, again, when you go on camera, because you need to today, authors, we used to hide, including me, I used to hide behind my book.
Hide behind the pen.
Hide behind the pen. Hide behind the pen. You're like, I don't want to go out there. I don't want to do it. It's like, you're just already feeling vulnerable because you're putting your work into the world.
Big time.
But the big theme I think we're having here, Carrie, is that it's not about you. So
Absolutely. When
I teach people to go onto camera, I want them to look into the lens and see that person that they're just loving. Like, be loving. Share your love and compassion with that person who's struggling, who's trying to figure out whatever it is that you're teaching or sharing or whatever it is. So if you're coming across and you're looking into the lens of the camera and you're pouring out your love and compassion to that person. And I'm just thinking, I know it could be thousands of people who've but it doesn't matter. It's that one person who's actually watching the video.
Absolutely.
Right?
One at a time.
So just, they will feel your love if you're sharing your love through the camera. And so these are the things that I teach in terms of getting over your fear and getting out there as an author, is really focusing on those strategies. Yes, you have to be visible. You have to put yourself out there. But again, taking all the focus off of yourself.
I love that. And that takes all the pressure off, because it really is not about us as authors. It's about the material. It's about the content. It's about the 5 steps in my book that I know deeply can help somebody. And that's where the conviction comes from. All right, we're not all perfect on video, but you could just do it and have fun with it. And I like that approach where you're just pouring love, because the other thing that does is it makes them know that they're not alone with their struggle. And that's so important. That's why I wrote my music, right? Because I was struggling with something, and that's, some of the most beautiful art comes from our deepest pain. And I wanted people to know that they weren't alone in that feeling either. Somebody else is out here and we get it. And it's the same thing. We understand your troubles, and here's what we did. We're actually gonna put ourselves out there and write a book so that your life can be better. I love that.
Yeah, I love it too. And it's so important. I mean, it's just like, I really want everyone here to really value themselves and know that, we all have something to offer. We've all had struggles. We've all gone through things. We all have knowledge and expertise that builds over time. And it's just really important to acknowledge that we do have value, and that, sometimes, I know you talk about imposter syndrome, and the truth is that you have knowledge that other people just don't have. You have life experiences that other people don't have. And so, as my mom used to say, comparison is a killer. Don't do it. She used to just say, and she did that when I was in high school. She was like,
Really?
you sit there, oh yeah, and I come in, Mom, whatever.
Right.
So-and-so's done what, and she said, comparison is a killer. Just don't do it.
I
Done.
love that, because
That was,
nowadays, right?
yeah.
The young people need that more than ever, because this is all about comparison, right? Like all of
Oh,
social media, and not in a really good way, is the
yes,
killer of joy. But
yes,
I love what you said, because what you're also, it's the information that only you have, only you've lived that life, only you've had that experience, and to share it is a beautiful gift for your listeners. But if you can condense somebody's time like you did, showing those mom, entrepreneurs and inventors how to shorten that window to get from point A to B, that
yes.
is so valuable, right? For a $15 book, they can get all that information, right? And condense the time.
I love that you say that, because think about it, when you're trying to learn about something and you're Googling this and you're watching that, and then you're 5 YouTube videos in and you're like,
Deep,
it didn't
right?
even answer my question. It gets so frustrating. So you've got to realize that you are condensing the information. You are helping people in such a profound way, because we don't have a lot of time. All of us are pressed for time. And so I love that you framed it that way, because you really are giving a gift by giving your knowledge and experiences to help others.
Yeah, totally. And it's from one trusted source. I could go online and find five different ways to promote something on Amazon, right? But
Yes.
it's one trusted source. It's somebody who's done it with a lot of clients that can, testify that you did an amazing job with it. So that's what you're looking for. I mean, there's a lot of garbage out there, right? You got to sort through the fake news. And when you have somebody like Tamara, who's been through it, who did it herself, who's helped hundreds and thousands of people do it themselves, and then just combining that with believing in yourself, because when you write a book, you walk away knowing that you're helping people all over the world. It's like, it's such an enormous concept. It's really hard to understand how enormous it feels when you finally have that holding in your hand. And you made me take a video of me the day that my book showed up at my house. And it was a feeling like no other. It's a sense of accomplishment. You will build your own confidence and trust in yourself, and you're giving such a beautiful gift to the world, and you're leaving a legacy for a lifetime.
It is so true. It is so true. And and that's what I love too, is like, by the time your book arrives in the mail, you are madly in love with your cover. You're madly in love with the interior. You've done all your videos and audios or whatever you're doing to make your book digital. So you've put so much thought and love into that book that when it arrives, it's like you've created this gift for others, but then that moment is such a gift to honor for yourself as well.
It really is. And I love, I'm going to wrap back around before we conclude, about what you said in the beginning segment. You talked about the ripple effect, and this is the ripple effect, right? And I saw a stat one time that said something about when one person in a family writes a book, it affects generations to come. Oh, well, Auntie Carrie wrote the book, or my mom, or whoever I am to somebody, right? Same thing
Mhm.
with you. The ripple effect is so enormous, it's almost hard to wrap your mind around how you're impacting other people, right?
So true. So true. You inspire people you don't even know you're inspiring.
Right?
I know.
Exactly.
And it's
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 so
such a, I
true.
mean, think about the beauty in that. I
It's
mean,
just, yeah,
it's really powerful.
so powerful. It's such a beautiful gift. Well, you have been a beautiful gift coming on the show and sharing your heart with us. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for having me, Carrie. It's been such a joy. I adore you.
You too. Right back at you. It's been so fun having you on. You're awesome. So tell us again where they can find you. Where can they get this lovely video template that I actually use myself? Where can they find it?
TamaraMonosoff.com. It's right on the
Awesome.
homepage. You just scroll down and you just put in your email and it will get right to you.
And the author to income, if they want to sign up and go get the free tips and do the Facebook group, which is really cool. I've been on there quite a few times. You always have fresh content and great information. So definitely sign up for that too. Find her on the Facebook page.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. It's really been a joy. And remember, everybody, it is never too late to live your best story or write your best story. And if you want to find out more tips and behind the scenes about Look for the Good, go to my website, carrierowan.com, and just click on the tab that says podcast and sign up for that mailing list. And as always, be well. And again, it is never too late to live your best story. Be well.
Thanks for tuning in to Look for the Good with your host, Carrie Rowan, best-selling author and mindset coach. Join us every Monday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. right here at DreamVision7 Radio Network. If you weren't able to catch an episode, no worries. Just visit our website to find all the archived episodes of Look for the Good on demand, so you don't miss a thing. And remember, it's never too late to live your best story. For additional resources or to find out about how you can work with Carrie directly, visit carrierowan.com for more details.